Later today, further details will be unveiled for a planned gun buyback program in partnership between the Mayor's Office, Harris County Precinct 1, the Houston Police Department, and 3rd Ward's Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church, where it'll take place on July 30th. With more, we're joined now by Harris County Precinct 1 Commissioner Rodney Ellis. Commissioner, good morning.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
What more can you tell us right now about this gun buyback program?
Well, it's part of a much broader initiative to try and get some of the guns off the street. You know, it really has become a public health epidemic because there's so much gun violence going on. About 40,000 people die each year because of firearm injuries, and that's every year in the United States. Many more are wounded. So here's a goal. Keep weapons off the streets and out of dangerous hands. A firearm in a home with children or incidents of domestic violence or somewhat with mental illness puts people at risk of a preventable tragedy. The gun buyback program provides people with an avenue to safely dispose of firearms. The program makes the community safer. All these firearms will be turned in, and the gun buyback program will be safely disposed of. No questions asked, no ID necessary. Mayor Turner and I want to team up and do this before school starts back. You know, in our county, about 19 young people lost their lives to gun violence. 15 of them Hispanic, Black, died because of gun violence. I mean, it's a way for the community to step up and participate. I think the cost on my end here at Precinct 1 might be $75,000 to $100,000. That's a guess. I know in Los Angeles, I talked to the president of that county board. They had so many people show up that they ran out of gift cards, and that's a good thing. But people still turned into guns. And the president of that board told me she thinks it was important because people wanted to do something. They had this a couple of years ago. Look, it's a strategy that cities and counties have used for some time. The oldest one I could find was going back to, I think, 1967 or 68 in Philadelphia. We're doing some cutting and pasting. Baltimore, New York, other places have done it. Beaumont had one a couple of years ago, maybe right before the pandemic. They did it with the church. One of the young mentees that came out of Wheeler Avenue. It's important that Wheeler Avenue would step up and make that facility available because of the historic significance of that church. But look, I'm proud to team up with the mayor. I know Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee and other federal allies are working to make federal funds available. We want to jumpstart it, Mayor Turner and I, and do this quick before school starts. Obviously, all of us were touched by what happened in Uvalde. And this is a way to let the community step up and do something. So just remember that point. Gun violence is a public health epidemic. This is part of a broader strategy. It does not take away from any of the traditional things that we've done in the past and the new innovative things that the city is going to do through their new initiative, One Safe Houston, and that the county is doing. And it doesn't take away from our traditional funding for law enforcement and our other criminal justice partners.
Where does the funding come from for this?
I'm going to take it out of my budget, about $75,000 to $100,000 about gift cards. The city will pay for overtime, police security. Obviously, you want to make sure that it is secure. My guess, this is just a guess, so don't hold me to it. We'll find out, and we'll give you a number when it's over with. I'm assuming the whole thing may cost about double that $75,000 or so that I'm putting up. So you're probably talking about $150,000. And when we do the next one, we hope to do a series if this goes well. I think it was Baltimore that did it for about 3 months and got a unprecedented number of weapons to come in. You know the numbers. You run through them there. $50 for a basic gun, $100, $150, depending on the weapon, up to $200 for this gun buyback program.
You mentioned that one of the goals here is to try and get guns out of dangerous hands. How do you ensure that dangerous hands are the ones turning these guns in?
Well, we're going to take them from anybody that brings them in. And, obviously someone that may fall into that category may not necessarily be the person that brings it in. They have to have it unloaded in the back of their vehicle, in the trunk. We'll take it out. But we're going to take them from wherever they come from. But based on the research we've seen, generally the ones that come in are guns that somebody has gotten out of a home, out of an attic. They got them from somewhere, and they know that they were going to end up in the hands of someone who's dangerous, who should not have the gun. But we're going to not ask any questions. We're going to take the guns from anybody who brings them in. And at the end of the day, if you look at the stats, 300 and some odd thousand, 300 and some odd, 300 and some odd million guns on the streets in the United States, a little under 400 million, and we got 300 and something million people in the country. So it's interesting. We have the highest ratio of guns per individual in America. There's more guns than anywhere else, any country on the planet. But we won't ask questions of whoever brings them in. We'll take them from whoever wants to turn them in.
You said once you have these in the city's possession, they'll be safely disposed of. What does that mean, though, in terms of weapons that might potentially be tied to open cases of gun crimes?
That's why we're working with the police department, our law enforcement partners. They will make that decision. They will know it when they get a gun before it is disposed of. However they dispose of it, they will know whether or not that gun was part of some crime. So it won't be a way that somebody can launder, so to speak, some weapon that they want to get rid of because it was used as part of a crime. Law enforcement will know that. That's why they'll make that decision. It won't be the mayor. It won't be me. It'll be our law enforcement partners.
How will you measure success with this effort? Is there a particular number of weapons you're hoping will be brought in, or have you set a particular goal, or is it, anything over one
we don't
works?
Know. We don't know. I'm surprised we haven't done this before. I just Googled a couple of days ago trying to see if we had any gun buyback programs. I was talking to Bishop Dixon a couple of years ago because I heard about the successful effort in Beaumont. Much smaller community, obviously, and the Beaumont Foundation and Pastor Adolph, I think, put up about $10,000, partly from the foundation, partly from the church. It was a match, and they had a successful program. We don't know. It's the first time we've done it. I think we'll learn as we go. Both the city and the county have budgeted funds to do a series of these over the next several months. All of us are concerned about this uptick in crime, and it's a way for us to learn from what other communities have done in the past. But I'm not going to set a target. I don't want to put a number at it. I'll tell you this. If we get one gun in, and there's a possibility that that weapon could have been used to kill some individual, I would consider that a success.
So again, this will happen on July 30th at Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church. It's a collaboration between that church, the mayor's office, your office, the Houston Police Department. What else should folks know about it ahead of time?
That we hope that they'll get the word out. It'll be safe. This will be the first one. Give us some feedback. We're going to learn as we go. My staff and the mayor's staff did a lot of work, and we appreciate that. Our staff members calling around the country, seeing what has worked, what has not worked. And we've done the research going back to 1968, first one I could find in Philadelphia, from what my staff members have told me and the mayor's staff. But we want to learn from it. If it works, get the word out. We'll be looking for other locations that are safe and secure. Tell your neighbors. Tell folks. They may know of some young kid that has access to a gun that may have a mental health issue, or some individual who has domestic violence going on in their home. Encourage them. This is a way. It's only successful if the community buys in. And just remember, in Los Angeles County, when they ran out of gift cards, people still stayed in line and turned into guns. That indicates that some people wanted to do something. They were touched by this violence in our country.
We have a link to more information about this gun buyback program on today's show post at houstonmatters.org. Rodney Ellis is Commissioner for Harris County Precinct 1. Commissioner Ellis, thank you very much.
Thank you. Glad to be with you. Bye-bye.